When I saw it last night, the number of Chelsea fans who were showing up outside Stamford Bridge, and they were gathering, and Peter Cech doing his Perez de Cuellar bit in amongst them, and I thought, this isn't a crack that's showing. This is going to lead to total disintegration. And I was surprised. I must be honest. I thought Arsene Wenger was right on Monday. We'll play a bit of that back shortly, when he said it won't last. It will not last. Well, it hasn't lasted, but I'm surprised with the speed with which it hasn't lasted. Now, Simon, Neil in Waltham Abbey is one of many. Good morning, Jim. After the spectacular collapse of the Super League yesterday, please ask Simon if his journey into the studio took longer than normal today, with all the backtracking, U-turns and directional changes for today's show. Okay. So what do you want to say to Neil this morning? Because yesterday you were changing your tune a bit.
Yeah, no, what I looked at was my first reaction on Sunday, and I said this to Luke last night. The truest reaction, your gut reaction, is the one you should always stick with, which was basically, this is tosh, it won't happen, and it's all about a redistribution of football in a certain way. And then I looked at the model and thought, yes, it can happen, and yes, I think it will happen, but it won't happen in this format, right? As the current format that's being proposed, this sort of ugly, mutated, ugly, self-edifying, self-aggrandizing format that these six guys have put forward, these six businesses have put forward. So I'm not sure that's a U-turn. It's a repositioning, saying, okay, I think it's tosh, it's the same again. But looking at the mechanisms, looking at JP Morgan, looking at the money behind the structure, looking at where this is going to end up, not where it's going now, not where it started to go, but where it's going to end up. This is not done. This isn't finished.
No, I know.
This particular incarnation of it isn't going to work, because it was never going to work. And that's what I said yesterday. I said, not in this format. It will not get through in this format. It needs to be repositioned. Now, what you never underestimate is the laughable incompetence and inadequacy of those that supposedly run the biggest football clubs in the world. What they tried to do was something that was incredibly rude and incredibly arrogant and dismissive, which was to do something that had the opportunity to take everybody with them, to break the current model, to break the model of the Skies of the world and the UEFAs of the world monetizing football, and take control, get hold of your own media rights, broadcast through a platform that is owned by football, and then distribute for the benefit of everybody else. That's what this model is about.
Yeah, but it was obscene.
It was ugly.
Look at some of the placards at Stamford Bridge last night. Greed. Fans were up in arms.
Yeah, but we've got to
This is a massive, massive embarrassment.
We've got to get context. What we have seen, this is a Jekyll and Hyde scenario, right? What we have seen is Hyde. We're yet to see Jekyll, right? These guys have rolled over. In a boxing match, they started a fight, and they didn't even get off the stool. It's laughable. It's contemptuous, or it's contemptible, and their approach to it. I looked at these guys and thought, the capital behind this is Kroenke, in my view. I look at Arsenal as a football club that accepts mediocrity. Now, when Kroenke walked through the door, they were the most profitable football club in the world. Look at the erosion of that club, because he doesn't really care about a successful club. He wants to run it down the middle. A successful club costs a lot of money. An unsuccessful club costs a lot of money. And he's had a club that's run in the middle for the last 15 years. Now Arsenal is causing him a lot of problems. It's a headache. It's losing money. And I think a lot of the capital behind this is Kroenke. I think Henry and Glazer's in the mix. And I think Manchester City and Chelsea are lemmings that jumped on the bus or the train, to use a different analogy, because it was leaving the station. But to fall over, if you're going to start a fight, at least have a fight. Whether it's right or wrong, they've not even had a fight.
For your tiny little partner, do you want to apologise for your mini U-turn?
Jim, when it comes to U-turns, you spend most of your time down the U-bend with your information. But the reality of it is... The U-bend.
Oh, I see, okay.
So look at this. What
you did have a bit of a wobble yesterday.
No, I didn't. What I said...
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I said this deal can happen, but
Monday you said it won't happen. Yesterday, it might, and it might happen in this guy.
No, what I said was, on Monday, it's a load of old tosh, it's a land grab for more money, right? Which is what it is, right? And on Tuesday, what I said was, looking at the dynamics of how much money is involved in this, and looking at the challenges that are in front of them, it can happen, but not in this format. Why it hasn't happened, really, besides fan pressure driving it down, is JP Morgan, the capital behind this, only raised 10 billion quid. If they'd have raised 40 billion quid, this would still be going forward. They didn't.
How would it go forward?
Because the
players wouldn't buy into it.
The fans weren't having it.
What are you saying? That every player that's in the Premier League... Wait, just 1 minute. You're saying every player in the Premier League, with the threat that's come from Seferin, saying that they will not be able to play in the European League or the World Cup, they would still go to this league, which is not even competitive.
Let me answer the question. No way would that format ever been acceptable. right? That was the worst case format. That was the negotiating format to start the process of getting something that was more acceptable.
So what would have made it acceptable?
What would have made it acceptable? Make it a qualifying event, make it not a closed user offering, make it an ability for people to come in, take it away from Sky and the broadcasting companies, take it away from UEFA, and make football own its own rights.
You said on Monday the Americans don't want jeopardy, so why would they have gone for that?
But the Americans can't get this deal in the way that they want it. They'd had to have changed their mind.
I think they've made it much more difficult for themselves to do anything like a European Super League after attempting this because they have shot themselves in the foot. Everyone in
Trevor,
football, whether it's the fans, ex-players, media, pundits,
I understand
all
that.
broadcasters
This isn't about
are against this now.
You guys are missing the picture. This isn't about European football. This is about money, right? And the monetisation of football.
We know that.
But hang on, Jim, you don't, because you keep barking up the sensational tree. Look at the reality of what this is. The difference between income and capital are very different things. Arsenal is worth £2 billion a year and gets £400 million income. This deal would have made Arsenal worth £12 billion and get them £700 million income. But what they didn't want to do initially is they didn't want to share it with anybody else. So the idea that they can now go back into the drawing board, rethink about the dreadful horlicks that they've made of this, and reposition it as a mechanism to redistribute football financially better for everybody else. Kick your guys in Sky, who are a bunch of hypocrites down the road, and then look at how football gets financed properly. 4 words, dead in the water. Alex Kroenke is with us this morning. Alex, your new position as Super League correspondent didn't last long, but we're delighted to have Alex Kroenke in as Alex Kroenke. Alex Kroenke, what have you got?
I felt like I was Alex Kroenke referee there as Trev and Simon went back and forth.
Mate.
And on the subject of U-turns and backtracking, they don't come much bigger than this. Only this morning there's an interview in one of the overseas papers, La Repubblica, with Andrea Agnelli, of course the Juventus president, very much one of the driving forces in this now defunct Super League. He was saying this morning there's a blood pact among our clubs. There's a 100% chance this will be a success. We've also seen a statement this morning from those clubs yet to withdraw from the Super League, saying they still basically plan on proceeding under a different guise. That's no more. Andrea Agnelli, in the last 15 minutes, has come out and admitted that without the British Six, without the English representatives, the Super League can't possibly go ahead.
There you go. So Agnelli is another one who's fallen on his sword. So too is John W. Henry, who this morning came out with a quite incredible apology to the Liverpool supporters. And the Liverpool supporters who've got in touch with talkSPORT this week have been, I have to tell you, outstanding.